You just went to another meeting and it was a disaster. Everything that you had planned for just went sideways. And it's often very difficult for us to reconcile those feelings coming out of the meeting, especially when you've done all the preparation that you thought was possible. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about 3 ways in which you can regain clarity after this meeting and not spiral into self-doubt. If you're anything like me, after a bad meeting, what I end up doing is I keep recalling the meeting over and over in my head, and it just continues down this downward spiral. It doesn't make you feel good. Sometimes I even have bursts of anger or tears because I was so enthralled in everything that I did wrong. So here's 3 things that help me get out of that rut. The first thing is replay that meeting, but replay it from other people's perspective and not from the perspective of judgment. Because I can tell you 99.99999% of the time, you were not the only contributor that led to this meeting that went sideways. Everyone had a contributing part, including the people who were disagreeing, or maybe a point that you didn't even raise that just snowballed into some dissenting view that no one was expecting. So really think about every single part of that meeting and think about it objectively. What did someone else say? How did someone else react to another person's perspective? So you are replaying this movie that you're watching and you're just an observer. Take out the popcorn and just really observe what is going on around you and not get soaked up in your own story about what you did to contribute, because again, every single person played a part in contributing to that meeting. And there is always a learning. It could be a learning on your part, but also a learning about do differently for other people. Then what you do, the second part, is just put up a big stop sign, okay? Then you stop ruminating. What you can do to stop is write out everything. So write out everything that you've been ruminating. It could be your self-doubts. It could be everything that you have observed as you were watching this movie. Jot it all down, or maybe writing is, too slow paced where you can type it out. But just get everything out of your mind. Put up a big red stop sign and just stop. Stop ruminating on things that now you cannot change. Then step number 3, move into something that you can change. So what you can change is to do things differently the next time around. There could be realizations that you have that you can implement for yourself, and that is great. So what are you going to do differently? Write that down. What I personally like to do is actually go and get feedback. And it doesn't have to be a very vulnerable discussion. There are trusted partners that you probably went into this meeting with. And I ask 3 simple questions. Number 1 is just a warm-up question. You sit down and you say, how do you think that meeting went yesterday? And it could just be an open conversation. It doesn't have to do with you. It doesn't have to do with that person, but just generally. It's that movie that we talked about. This is like the movie critics review of what happened, right? So what happened when we opened? Where things went sideways? What went well, actually? It's like there is something that was positive that came out of it. Maybe it's just a realization that everyone needs more clarity or people need more data. And then you set the stage. Now you can open up to be a little bit more vulnerable if you want to. So what that could sound like is, now knowing that this is a situation that we faced yesterday, is there any feedback you want to give me for me to improve the next time? And that then opens up the discussion around validating some of the feedback that you thought about for yourself that you want to implement. Or maybe you were wrong. Maybe your assessment is a little bit different than how others perceived you. So this is a great way to gather that feedback to, number 1, validate or gather a different perspective, because you don't want to put into action something that is not going to have the right impact for you. And the third question is, how can we collaborate better going into the next meeting? Or should we face the same situation again? And this helps to strengthen your relationship. And it could be that you've collaborated really well leading into this and something during the meeting just didn't go well. So how do you better choreograph that? How can we work in tandem and in partnership and co-design a next experience so that we are on track and we get the positioning that we want to move this project forward. And these are the 3 questions. So number 1 is just getting the context. Number 2 is then knowing the context. What can you be doing differently? And number 3 is what can we be doing differently together? And this helps you to get the clarity in terms of what happened and validates or corroborates your perspective. Number 2, it helps you get clarity on what you can be doing differently. And number 3, it strengthens your relationship with this person to ensure that you have a partner going into that next meeting. And always be prepared, because going back to my step number 1 of watching this movie, you need to be able to answer questions that you're going to ask your colleague back to yourself. So what I mean by that is making sure that you are prepared to give feedback to this colleague, because likely they're going to come back and ask you the same questions. What do you think about the meeting? What could I have done differently? Yes, definitely. There's opportunities for us to do things differently the next time. So what could that be? So you don't want to show up empty-handed and make it all about yourself. It needs to be a reciprocal relationship, and that's how you move on from being stuck in your thoughts about a meeting that didn't go so well. So I hope you found that useful. I have a full playlist that I'm going to link for you here so that you can be prepared for any meeting that you go into. And I will see you in the next video.